Making money in the markets isn't a sprint, it's a fucking marathon, Johnny, so make sure you're conditioned well. What's going on, everyone? You already know who it is, back at it with another Market Insights video to wind down the year. And it's insane to think that this year is coming to a close, but hey, good riddance, right? We've been quarantined, masked up, and socially distanced so long, I'm starting to forget what outside feels like. Oh, look, a tree. For this episode, I want to talk about some of the developing news affecting financial markets and investors as the year ends, and what to be on the lookout for in 2021. To kick things off, we have a new president, although some may not fully agree. And since the election, the markets have favored well, with all major indexes hitting near record highs. The election was a big question mark for financial markets, but in my opinion, I think the markets were less concerned of who gets into office and more concerned of getting over this pandemic and current recession. And now with the election out of the way, that is one area of uncertainty that the markets can digest. Sometimes when there's too much happening, the markets tend to overconsume and get bloated on so much information. And when that happens and you have too much gas built up, well, you know what happens then. Ooh, stanky ass volatility. The Biden-Harris policies on tax and spending are not clear-cut as of yet, since they are focusing on the current issues of the pandemic and the recession. Speaking of the pandemic, the US is currently hitting record cases, hospitalizations, and COVID-19 deaths, with single-day death tolls topping over 3,000. However, on the bright side, the US and European Union have issued emergency use authorizations for COVID-19 vaccines. The two current companies that have been approved, Pfizer and BioNTech, both of which that teamed up to create the vaccine. And there are other companies getting really close to a similar approval. And it's incredible news because just a couple of months ago, there was no telling when a potential vaccine could be developed. Me personally, I'm glad that we have something other than masks and closed restaurants to battle this pandemic. And as more companies get approval for COVID-19 vaccines, I think we will then see a swifter recovery in the economy. And just to touch really quick on my thoughts on the vaccine, I think it's important to understand that the current vaccine technology that we have is so much different than what most people think. So for those Karens and negative Nancys thinking that they're going to get the virus injected into them, you will not. You ignorant, uneducated f***. With some of the research that I've done myself, the mRNA vaccines do not have virus cells in them. Instead, what they do is they inject proteins that have a complex with a similar build of that virus into you. As a result, this triggers your immune system to create antibodies against the actual virus. So if you are exposed to COVID, your body already has a built-in defense mechanism to battle it. And as a result, in theory, less serious cases resulting in hospitalizations and death. More information on how mRNA vaccines work are in the description below. Lastly, the current state of the economy is a dire one. Unemployment claims are hitting 3-month highs with 20+ million claims weekly. In addition, a lot of the jobs that have been lost during the pandemic are not anticipated to come back. Not to mention the countless small businesses that have been affected and forced to close with no return in sight. There's no question that this pandemic has changed our lives forever, but still, the long-term impacts of our economy, the job market, and our way of life are still TBD. And since the pandemic began, there's only been a single stimulus package to help the American people. Meanwhile, our Canadian neighbors gave its citizens $2,000 a month for 4 months. Not to get political, but Congress needs to get their shit together and pass something soon. There is word that we are closer than ever on a second stimulus, but chances are it's not going to be as big as the one that we saw in March. So if this smaller package does pass in the next week or so, we could very well see another stimulus once Biden gets into office. Lastly, here are my thoughts for 2021 and what to be on the lookout for in the new year. First off, I just mentioned this, but Stimulus 3.0. Even if we do get a package deal before the year end, chances are we'll see more money from Congress to help prop up the economy in the new year. Next up, low interest rates. Jay Powell and the Fed have reiterated their commitment to low interest rates and monetary policy to support liquidity. So that is reassuring for lenders, borrowers, and financial markets. Next, vaccine distribution. Although we do have a vaccine, it's being distributed in phases. First to essential workers, then high-risk populations, and then slowly it will trickle down to mainstream America. It is anticipated that vaccines will be widely available to the American people as early as spring of 2021, which is not bad, but with record cases peaking, deaths, and hospitalizations, things can certainly get worse before they get better. Next, Bitcoin. Bitcoin recently hit over $20,000 a coin and is all the craze right now. The digital currency market is on fire right now, with Bitcoin up over 200% for the year, and some altcoins like Ethereum up more than double that. Keep an eye on the crypto market in 2021 as institutional interest slowly ramps up. Most recently, an insurance company, Mass Mutual, just bought $100 million worth of Bitcoin. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in 2021 from large asset managers. And lastly, stocks. The markets are at all-time highs. Considering the current state of the economy, uncertainty with the vaccine effectiveness, and further economic shutdown, expect increased volatility. Investors should make sure that they are not over allocating their money into investments as a result of FOMO. I believe that there are going to be plenty of opportunities for investors to get into the market and also to dollar cost average. So don't feel pressured to throw all your money in at the same time. So it's okay. We're going to have some dips. We're going to have some buying opportunities. Just be patient. Making money in the markets isn't a sprint. It's a marathon, Johnny, so make sure you're conditioned well. Overall, I want to thank you all who have tuned into the channel. I really appreciate the support and the love, but there's a lot more that we have cooking in the kitchen, so make sure you stay tuned. I want to wish you and your family a safe and happy holidays and happy new year. 2020 has been a tough road for a lot of us, but I want to encourage you to keep thinking positive, keep testing negative, and keep empowering yourself to live a happy, healthy, and prosperous life. My name is Ash. I'll catch you guys next time.